Come, let us review forceful practice instructions and then meditate like a Jedi. To understand Sturgeon's law, which states that 90% of everything sucks, we're going to have to consider a tale of two Jedi. From a certain point of view, Mace Windu was radically different than Qui-Gon Jinn. Consider the former. Arguably, Mace was a trifle rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. Let's contrast that with Qui-Gon Jinn, who was famous for being flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Sadly, 90% of humanity, including 90% of meditation teachers, follow in the footsteps of old Mace Windu. Consequently, they implore their students to actively focus and actively analyze, thus exhausting their dorsolateral and medial prefrontal cortex to the point that they begin presenting with symptoms of depression, no less triggering their amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. How darkly ironic that we set out with the intention to become more peaceful and loving, but instead become more anxious and aggressive. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Consider, if you will, our spinal cord, known as the autonomic nervous system. Doesn't my voice sound lovely? Okay. Let's see here. That's better. So how are we to do this thing? How are we to break the habit of competing against our autonomic nervous system and begin cooperating with it? Here's the key. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, the middle bit of our autonomic nervous system, known as the sympathetic nervous system, is wired to help us to notice in a very special way. To help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. The full spectrum, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. That's all well and good, that the autonomic nervous system is able to help us practice mindfulness, but how do we cooperate with it efficiently and easily? To do that, all we got to do is silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel our chest swell with breath. Of course, the question remains, what are we to do with all that which we noticed? Every time we exhale, we are wired to automatically access the tippy top and the very bottom of that same spinal cord, whose fancy name is our parasympathetic nervous system. These two extremes have evolved to help us to relax during our exhalation to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and even as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Any good English teacher could remind us that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. Mucus, the fringe benefit of coffee. So what is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, could feel non-graspable to the hand? Pardon. And so we see that both no self and emptiness are just metaphors to describe the naturally occurring phenomena latent within each exhalation that is known as meditation. And once again, the question remains, how do we practice this effortlessly? How do we cooperate with our autonomic nervous system so that we can not only effortlessly but efficiently practice this mindfulness and meditation? Simple. Every time we feel our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb, rest. Having completed our opening lesson, let us take a moment to shift gears. It is Rey Skywalker mid-morning, at least it is here in Southern California. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made... Oops, let's try this again. Together, let us meditate like a Jedi after about 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School for more than 30 years. I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation, so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. And so together, let us notice mind's antics and rest in its non-graspable nature. As we sit with the intention of meditation, we are sometimes assailed with the fear that when we open our eyes, we will find that a decade has passed. Our hair is long, we're dusty, with a long beard, like some great contemplative Rip Van Winkle. A useful workaround for this is a variation of Bengali crease counting, where we will use our knuckles to keep track of multiple collections of 16 sets of 16 inhalations. That's an overview. Let's get into it. Let's touch the tip of our left thumb to the lowest set of creases on our left little finger. And now let's rest this whole Megillah palms up in our lap. On our right hand, every time we inhale and silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, we can advance our right thumb across the creases and tips of its four fingers, beginning with the little one. Let us do this together right now. Behold, I have run out of finger creases and tips upon which to rest my right thumb. What shall I do? Simple. I shall advance the tip of my left thumb up its little finger until it comes to rest upon the second set of creases. And now you can kind of get the visceral idea that we can count on our right hand 16 inhalations, a little bit more than a minute. In our left hand, we can count 16 sets of 16 inhalations, a little bit more than 20 minutes. And we can actually use the knuckles to count multiple collections of 16 sets of 16 inhalations. To keep track of our first collection, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, palm the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. After 20 minutes or so, we could advance our right middle finger and until its middle knuckle comes to rest upon the same left middle finger. Once again, palms up in our lap. After 40 minutes or so, we could, if we so desired, advance our right middle finger until its tippy top highest knuckle comes to rest upon the left middle finger. Once again, palms up in our lap. And while we are playing with our knuckles, we're also using our left hand to count sets and our right hand to count inhalations. Don't worry. The remedy to overwhelm is repetition. Join me every 12 hours or so, and within a week or two, we could master the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the essence of enlightenment. As we rest into our exhalation, whatever rage or peace we might have felt during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was melting into the simplicity of merely emotional energy. For noticing and releasing in harmony with our inhalation is the universal antidote to all that arises. The essence of equanimity, the seventh enlightenment factor. And by playing with it, we notice the energy, which is the third enlightenment factor. The fact that whatever we feel is simply energy that ironically fuels our practice, regardless of whether it is pleasurable, painful, glorious, or grotesque. The fourth enlightenment factor is joy. Remember, we're counting inhalations on our right hand. During our first inhalation, silently and mentally, we can gently tug on the corners of our mouth. During our second inhalation, we can notice the apples of our cheeks. During our third inhalation, we can notice the crow's feet of our eyes. And then forget about it for the next 12 or so breaths. This is one of the things that spark energy, the third enlightenment factor, that help to run the metaphoric and cogs and gears of our figurative enlightenment machine. As we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we could remember to gently straighten our posture or lift our posture. As we silently and mentally recite the verb rest during our exhalation, we can allow our body to relax, even its posture. For whatever rises, falls, whatever comes, goes, including impeccable posture. Those who try to become statues of flesh, blood, and bone get unsatisfactory results. Sometimes as we sit, it is comfortable. Sometimes when we sit, it is painful. the more we notice and release every 12 hours or so, the more our choices and utterances and deeds could flow, not from contrived calculation, not from wild scatteredness, but from deeply centered spontaneity. This is our inner guru, our expedient means, our going with the flow, our wu wei, that can guide us to make the subtle adjustments to our posture that are necessary for longevity and health and happiness. Because there is no benefit in ignoring our body's cries of discomfort and cultivating arthritis, he said from experience. Additionally, while our inner coach is gently guiding our body treating and exploring the angle of each joint intuitively, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever pleasure or pain we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was melting into the simplicity of the physical energy of sensation. And of course, it couldn't hurt to gently adjust our legs every 15 minutes or so. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. Oopsie, wrong button. In approximately 3 and a third hours, I would very much like to return to today's third session of meditating like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.